I stood in the glass conference room, staring at the termination letter with my own forged signature printed at the bottom. Across the table, my boss, my mentor, refused to meet my eyes. And sitting beside him, smirking like a serpent who finally tasted victory, was my closest friend at work. The same friend I once defended with my whole career. My name is Elara Morgan, and for as long as I can remember, work was the one place where I felt certain, where I knew who I was. I wasn't born wealthy or connected, but I had grit. Long nights at my desk, quiet elevators humming past midnight, the glow of spreadsheets reflecting off cold office windows. Those were my companions. The company, Bradford and Cole Analytics, felt like a second home. And the two people I trusted most inside that building were Samuel Bradford, our stern but fair CEO, who once told me I reminded him of himself. Vivian Hale, my colleague, my coffee partner, my ride or die in meetings. Or so I believed. Before I learned what ambition looks like when it has no conscience. I should have noticed the subtle shifts, the small tensions hiding in plain sight. The first sign came during a quarterly prep meeting. Vivian, usually warm, kept avoiding eye contact. Her fingers tapped relentlessly against her tablet, her foot bouncing under the table. "Everything okay?" I whispered. She nodded too quickly. "Yeah, just tired." But when I reached for her draft report, she yanked it back like I was stealing it. Then came the strange late-night email Samuel forwarded to me by accident, containing confidential numbers I'd never seen before. Numbers matching a project I supposedly led. Numbers that didn't exist last week. I remember walking past the executive floor late one evening. My footsteps were light, but my breathing felt heavy. Behind a partially closed door, I heard Samuel's voice, sharp, urgent. "She thinks she has control. She won't see it coming." Vivian replied quietly, but her words cut through the crack like a blade. "She'll be out by Friday. Everything's ready." I froze. My heart pounded against my ribs like it wanted to escape. Were they talking about me? I backed away before they noticed, but the dread clung to me, thick as smoke. Friday arrived like a storm cloud. I was called into the executive conference room. Glass walls. Cold air humming through invisible vents. The kind of room where people's careers lived or died. Samuel slid a document toward me. "Elara, we've discovered financial discrepancies in Project Atlas. Large ones. Enough to warrant immediate termination." I stared at him, then at the papers. The numbers looked familiar, the same numbers from the accidental email. And the signature at the bottom? My signature. Except I'd never signed anything of the sort. My voice cracked. "Samuel. This is forged. I didn't authorize any of this." He leaned back, expression unreadable. "It's your word against the evidence." I turned to Vivian, needing, begging, for something human in this room. "Viv, tell him. You know I didn't do this." But she looked away, twisting a pen between her fingers. "Elara, maybe you don't remember signing it?" My stomach dropped. "That's not possible and you know it." Her tone shifted, cold, rehearsed. "I'm sorry. I have to protect the company." Protect the company. Or protect herself. The betrayal hit me like thunder. I felt heat climb up my chest, my face burning with disbelief. "This was your plan," I whispered. "Both of you. You needed a scapegoat." Samuel stiffened. "Security will escort you out." The door opened behind me. Footsteps. Finality. My career, 8 years of sweat and sacrifice, was collapsing in minutes. And the worst part? It wasn't a mistake. It was a setup. They walked me out of the building while my coworkers watched through cubicle walls, whispers floating like dust in the air. "Elara. Fired. No way. She was Samuel's prodigy. Vivian's taking over her department, right?" That last whisper stung the most. Outside, the city noise felt unfamiliar, like I'd been dropped into someone else's life. Cold wind whipped my hair, Car horns blared in the distance, and the weight of humiliation settled deep inside me. For days, I replayed everything. Every conversation. Every strange moment. Every lie disguised as concern. Why frame me? Why me? A week later, I got my answer. A junior analyst I'd mentored messaged me late at night. Elara. I don't know who else to tell. Vivian and Samuel have been funneling Atlas funds into a private project. Your name was on everything. They needed it to fall on you if things went wrong. My throat tightened. So that was it. Corporate betrayal at its purest. Calculated, quiet, efficient. They used my reputation, my integrity, as camouflage for their greed. But then came the part one never expected. I have proof, the analyst added. And I'm scared. His voice notes were shaky, filled with fear. And I realized something. They didn't just ruin my career. They were hurting people still trapped inside. My humiliation turned into something sharper. Something steadier. Resolve. I sat at my kitchen table, city lights flickering outside my window like a silent audience. The documents the analyst sent me were spread across the table. Spreadsheets, emails, hidden transactions, Vivian's digital fingerprints all over them. I had two choices. Walk away quietly. Rebuild my life. Pretend none of this happened. Or burn the empire that betrayed me. Legally, cleanly, and publicly. My chest tightened as I weighed the consequences. Going up against Samuel Bradford was like challenging gravity. He owned half the city, figuratively and literally. The man had influence that stretched into boardrooms I'd never even stepped inside. But then I thought of Vivian's face when she lied. So calm. So polished. As if my trust had been a tool she'd always planned to discard. I picked up my phone, heart pounding. Hi. I'd like to report corporate fraud. My voice didn't shake. Not once. I expected retaliation. Silencing. Manipulation. But the truth has its own gravity. Once set into motion, it's impossible to stop. Samuel's private accounts were exposed. Vivian's involvement was undeniable. And the night they were escorted out by federal agents, employees whispered the same words they once whispered about me. No way. Vivian? Samuel. Really? Elara tried to warn us. I didn't get my job back. Not because I didn't deserve it, because I didn't want it anymore. Some places become haunted once you learn the truth about them. Instead, I started consulting privately, helping employees understand their rights, protecting workers who were too afraid to speak. It's ironic, really. Samuel thought he was ending my career. Instead, he redirected it. And as for Vivian? She sent me a single letter from whatever holding facility she ended up in. I never meant for you to get hurt, she wrote. A lie with ink instead of breath. I didn't respond. Some endings don't deserve closure. Some betrayals don't deserve forgiveness. In the end, I finally learned that loyalty is louder than titles. And sometimes the family you find at work is made of shadows, not people. Some endings are painful, but necessary. Tell me what you would have done.
And that's how everything unfolded. If you've made it this far, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, we truly read every single one of them. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Reddit Diaries to support the channel and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Your support means the world to us.